Welcome to the HCOL Housing Trap, where we unpack why even a $277,000 income can feel stretched thin in a high cost of living area. In this video, we'll move beyond the simplistic 3 times income rule and instead reveal the true, often invisible, costs of homeownership. We'll also cover when to buy, how to stress test your budget for real life, and how to future-proof against major expenses like childcare. Let's begin by previewing what's ahead. Here's today's agenda. First, we'll debunk the 3 times income rule. Next, we'll expose why stopping at PITI is dangerous. Then, we'll walk through a realistic HCOL budget for a $277,000 income. After that, we'll talk timing strategy and why waiting can hurt. Then, we'll stress test the plan for life changes like childcare. We'll also walk through quick math and Markdown so you can follow along. Finally, we'll quiz you to lock in the key concepts. To set the scene, affluent earners in high cost of living markets face a paradox. High income often collides with even higher prices. Many people rely on a rule of thumb that suggests a home price up to 3 times your gross income is affordable. However, this rule ignores critical costs that occur beyond the mortgage payment. Therefore, it's essential to unpack the full cost of ownership. Let's start by examining the popular 3 times income rule and where it falls short. The 3 times income rule might suggest that a $277,000 income can support a home around $800,000. But this is a shortcut, not a strategy. It focuses buyers on PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, while ignoring the broader ownership costs. The decision to buy should be made only after including maintenance reserves, higher utilities in larger or older homes, potential property tax reassessments, and other buffers. By incorporating these non-PITI expenses, you move from a superficial affordability check to a safer, more reliable one. Now let's break down those invisible costs. This pie chart shows a realistic monthly distribution for an $800,000 home with 20% down in an HCOL market. The largest slice is principal and interest around $4,150. Property taxes account for about $833 per month, assuming a 1.25% rate on the full home price. Insurance is estimated at $200 monthly. A maintenance fund of around $750 per month reflects $8,000 to $10,000 annually. Utilities are budgeted at approximately $400 to account for larger space or older systems. Finally, a tax reassessment buffer of about $100 per month cushions the possible increase in property taxes after the sale. With the anatomy clear, we can now detail each non-PITI item and why it matters. Let's address the PITI lie. Assuming your payment stops at principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. First, maintenance. Rather than the conservative 1% rule, you should plan on $8,000 to $10,000 annually in the early years, which translates to roughly $667 to $833 per month. Second, utilities. If you are moving from a rental to a larger or older home, utility bills usually rise notably. Budget for this increase rather than discovering it later. Third, taxes. In many areas, a sale resets or reassesses property value, which can cause an immediate jump in property taxes after closing. You must research your local rules to avoid budget shock. With that context, let's translate these concepts into a concrete HCOL budget example. Here is a snapshot for an HCOL buyer earning $277,000 annually. Monthly gross income is approximately $23,083. Using the 3 times income rule points to about an $800,000 home. With 20% down, that's a one-time $160,000, leaving a $640,000 loan. At roughly 6.75% for a 30-year fixed mortgage, principal and interest are about $4,150 per month. Adding property taxes at approximately 1.25% yields around $833 monthly, and insurance at about $200. That places baseline PITI around $5,183. However, once we add a maintenance fund of $750 per month, utilities around $400, and a tax reassessment buffer of $100, the true monthly housing outlay climbs to roughly $6,433. If you are contributing 20% of gross income to retirement accounts, that's approximately $4,616 per month separately. Next, stress test childcare in an HCOL area at about $2,200 per month, which pushes the post-housing and childcare subtotal to around $8,633, or roughly 37% of gross income. As you can see, true affordability depends on the full stack of costs and your broader plan.
Now, let's quickly show how to DIY these calculations using simple markdown notes.
This quick math section summarizes the key formulas. Calculate your loan by subtracting the down payment from the price. Use a mortgage calculator or an approximation to estimate principal and interest. Estimate property tax by multiplying the local rate by the price and dividing by 12. Use a placeholder for insurance, and plan a maintenance fund of $8,000 to $10,000 per year. For utilities, estimate based on size, age, and climate, and add a buffer over your rental experience. Include a small monthly buffer for tax reassessment. Your true monthly housing cost is PITI plus maintenance, utilities, and the reassessment buffer. Finally, stress test with probable life expenses such as childcare. With calculations in hand, we can now walk through a step-by-step process to build a realistic budget. To build a realistic HCOL budget, first list all income sources and your pre-tax savings targets, such as a 20% retirement contribution. Second, estimate PITI using current interest rates and your local property tax and insurance data. Third, add a maintenance fund and a scaled utility estimate based on the home's size and age. Fourth, research local reassessment rules and include a tax buffer accordingly. Fifth, stress test your budget by including possible life events like childcare. Sixth, rerun your numbers for off-peak buying scenarios and ask lenders about rate options or credits. Seventh, verify that your emergency fund can cover at least 6 months of your true housing costs, not just PITI. With a process in place, let's check your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. Question: which non-PITI expense should you budget immediately after closing in a high cost of living area? Options: A. New furniture fund only. B. A maintenance fund of about $8,000 to $10,000 per year. C. Vacation savings. D. A negligible $25 utility increase. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. A maintenance fund of $8,000 to $10,000 per year protects you from early repair and replacement costs, which are common when transitioning from a rental to a home. This fund is crucial for maintaining financial stability. Now that we've cemented the invisible cost concept, let's move into buying strategy and timing. Here's the controversial strategy. Do not wait for an arbitrary milestone if your financial foundation is strong, meaning you have no consumer debt, can put 20% down, have a robust emergency fund, and are progressing well toward retirement. In many markets, waiting until spring or summer pushes you into peak competition. By contrast, off-peak seasons like late fall and winter can offer more leverage due to fewer buyers and more motivated sellers. To visualize timing, let's look at a simple seasonal timeline. This timeline illustrates typical seasonality. In winter, buyer activity tends to be lower, which can increase buyer leverage and the likelihood of concessions. Spring is the peak, bringing bidding wars and aggressive terms.
Summer remains active with firm pricing. Fall often cools, improving negotiation conditions. With timing in mind, let's test your understanding with another quick quiz.
Here's your next quiz question. When do buyers often have the most leverage in many high cost of living markets? Options: A. Spring. B. Summer. C. Late fall or winter. D. It's always the same. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is C. Late fall and winter. During these off-peak periods, reduced competition can give buyers more negotiation power and access to motivated sellers. Now, to further solidify the lesson, let's compare the 3 times income rule with a true cost approach. On the left is the 3 times income rule. It's simple, but it ignores critical ownership costs and can overstate affordability, especially in high-cost markets. It may feel comfortable until the surprises arrive. On the right is the true cost approach. It includes maintenance, utilities, and buffers, and it stress tests major life events such as childcare. This method builds resilience and reduces the risk of financial strain.
Next, we will quickly visualize the decision path to make this actionable.
This flowchart shows the decision-making process. Begin by verifying strong financial foundations. no consumer debt, 20% down, and an emergency fund covering at least 6 months of true housing costs. If foundations are strong, pursue off-peak shopping windows when possible.
Next, stress test the budget with childcare and other life changes. If the plan passes, proceed with an offer. If it fails, right-size the budget or adjust the target location, then recalculate. Regardless, always include maintenance and tax buffers in your calculations. Before we wrap up, let's quickly address an important disclaimer.
Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial, tax, or legal advice. The figures shown are illustrative. Your mortgage rate, taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, and all other costs will vary based on your location and personal profile. Before making decisions, consult qualified professionals in your jurisdiction. With that noted, let's capture the key takeaways. Key takeaways. The 3 times income rule is only a starting point. True affordability requires budgeting beyond PITI to include maintenance, utilities, and a tax reassessment buffer.
Stress test your plan with childcare and other life changes. If your financial foundations are strong, consider off-peak buying for better leverage. Finally, ensure your emergency fund covers your true costs, not just PITI. Let's summarize and close out. In summary, affordability lives beyond PITI, so incorporate maintenance, utility increases, and local tax reassessment dynamics into your budget. Plan for maintenance early and generously. Use seasonal patterns to your advantage by shopping during off-peak periods when possible. Future-proof your plan by stress testing major life changes, including childcare. With a structured approach, you can make confident decisions in HCOL markets.
Finally, here's how you can help the channel and share your experience. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you avoid a budget blind spot, please like the video, share it with a friend who is house hunting, and subscribe for more practical financial breakdowns. In the comments, tell us about your HCOL experiences and the biggest hidden housing cost you've encountered. Your stories help the whole community learn. See you in the next one.